Now, funny that where we have reached now is the case of what you are allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say. Last week, a couple of weeks ago, people on social media were announcing the death of Museveni. And people were saying that he was critically ill and he had been taken to Germany for treatment. All of a sudden, then, they started announcing his son as well, saying that the son had been taken to Nairobi. Now, personally, I'm not a person who would not look into an issue first and confirm and have evidence on any of the words that I have to say. However, like I thought that maybe this time Museveni would be like, yeah, those things usually Ugandans say, so I don't care, I don't mind. I will just move on with my life. But now, we see things have become very serious. He's really taken it very serious to look for people who are announcing his death. Now, for issues that are that needs his attention, for example, COVID, for example, people who are murdering people and all this kind of stuff, the robbers, looking for vaccines, all those ones can go to the back. But the issue of people who are announcing Museveni's death, that one is at the forefront as we speak today. Now, what is happening is that they are arresting anyone. If at all you are in a WhatsApp group, if at all you have ever been on Facebook and said that Museveni is dead, or you have ever said that Museveni is critically ill, and this is likely to spread as well as to his children. We don't know where this gentleman gets the anger to start arresting people who are announcing his death. Now, I did an episode about the issue, but then we are following up. All of a sudden, there's a gentleman who has been arrested for announcing his death. Now, according to the Monitor, they said that police say they have arrested one man from Luwero district in central Uganda over offensive communication after he allegedly circulated falsified news that Museveni had passed on. Incontrovertible evidence got on him and shall be used for prosecution, said CID spokesperson Charles Twine, who identified the suspect as Jamiru Sechondwa. Well, it shouldn't come as a surprise if the suspect is a Muslim. We all know that. The arrest comes after Museveni 76 directed security officers to locate very quickly those who had been spreading fake news about his death. Apparently, social media has been saying that Museveni is dead. They should locate very quickly the one who tells such a story. Museveni said during the swearing-in ceremony of cabinet ministers at Kororo Independence Grounds. The claims had become vocal even after Museveni had made several public appearances, started circulating on June the 26th in the form of multimedia from anonymous sources on micro-blogging platforms, including the government-banned Facebook mobile app. The other day when I went to that side of Bombo to lay a foundation, people were looking at me with shock because social media reported that I was dead. The president added that before ordering security agencies to solve what he described as non-security but rather idiotic problem, security services should solve this problem. I need to check with them so that we go for you. If you are in Europe, we denounce you and say, go to hell because you are wasting people's time. He won't. Now, this is really interesting. That the arrests have now started. I'm trying to look for a picture of the man that was arrested after because the picture is really funny. Let me just see if I can get you the picture here. I think it was... no, these ones don't have the picture. But the picture of the man that was arrested is really, really interesting. Who had announced Museveni's death. Because the gentleman looks like he has never held even a smartphone. Because what happened is, okay, if you are not dead, that is what Museveni has ruled Ugandans. That they cannot believe him. Even when he says that, guys, I'm alive. They won't believe you. Whenever Museveni tells you to take this way, right, always take the other way. Museveni is not someone to be trusted. And even the past people who have dealt with him, they have told us Museveni is not one person to be trusted. Now, I know there are so many conspiracy theories of Ugandans. Ugandans are also paranoid. They cannot wait for the gentleman to kick the bucket. But for me, I hold a different view. I wouldn't like to see him dead. What I would like to see is, I would like him to live on long. You see, for us who are religious, even living up to old age, at times it might be a blessing as well as being a punishment from God to show you. And you see now people like Jacob Zuma, what they are going through. They stole from their country. And now look at what is happening in South Africa, the riots. I want Museveni to live up to 102 so that he can have a feeling and see what it means to be out of power and see what it means and face all these things that he did to these people. Let me tell you, all African leaders, this is the same script. I'm an African student, I'm an African history teacher. So I know all these African leaders, what they have gone through, the embarrassment and all this kind of stuff. For you to be an African leader, to have a decent burial when you have treated your people very badly, those are the lucky few. But some are not so lucky. Some were not even buried in their own countries. Some were not even accorded a state funeral. So we want Museveni to go through that kind of situation so that he can live very long and then see what kind of disaster of a country he left behind, and see Ugandans picking pieces together, both within within the NRM if they want, and those within the opposition, to show him that the country was always yearning to work together and foster unity and look towards having a country that is based on meritocracy and not based on nepotism as well as segregation. These leaders, before they pass on, they should sit and have a screen in front of them where they can no longer appoint ministers and fire ministers, where they can no longer order the arrest of Ugandans just because they announced their death, whereby they can no longer kidnap, kill people at will, and take all that power away from them and let them feel the powerlessness of that, that kind of life. Because most people might think that death is the ultimate punishment. But that's not the ultimate punishment. Because by thinking that Museveni should die, some people might say like, he really deserved it, No. By sending him to an early grave, if Museveni dies early, at times it might be a blessing to him. Because he has run away from all this accountability and things like that. But if you let him stay and he lives on to see all these kind of things, that the mess that he has created, then that is good enough punishment for him. Okay, now things escalated very quickly, whereby these guys were now looking for bloggers, people who have different platforms on Facebook, who come out and speak and do live shows and things like that. People like me. I'm not part of it, but they said that they are now going after bloggers. Most of the most popular blogger, but one that is most popular that they noted out is a gentleman called Lumbuye. Now they said security warns blogger Lumbuye, according to the Nile Post, as more are arrested for announcing Museveni's death. How about we all announce Museveni's death, 45 million Ugandans, and see who they will arrest and who they will leave? By the time people are announcing your death, you should know what people will think about you when you die. Is that what Museveni is worried about? For the very first time, I've never seen Museveni so worried about people announcing his death. I thought he would just brush those things off his shoulder and concentrate on things that are really, really, really needed for our country to move on. Now he's diving into rumors and all this kind of stuff. Now, Criminal Investigation spokesperson Charles Twine on Monday said after the arrest of Peter Sechondwa from Luwero last week, some people are saying Peter Sechondwa, some people are saying Jamiru Sechondwa. Security has picked up more suspects to help in investigations over the matter. We have been undertaking investigations. On Thursday, we arrested one of the suspects, Sechondwa, who had authored a message extending what had been authored by people outside our jurisdiction. He edited the message from abroad and started sharing it. The people who received it also started sharing it, Twine said. Now, some of you should understand that within the CID itself, or the criminal ISO and all these other institutions, they have people they deal with in terms of criminals. Now, when Museveni orders the arrest of people, just because these people cannot arrest people who are outside spreading this news, they go in their pool of suspects, they start picking out, and then they assemble to the world. And then afterwards, they get these suspects, send them back home. That's what usually happens. That's why you see the people who killed Katumba Amara, the same person, they say that, oh, this person was also arrested during Kawesi's murder. So these guys have their own pool of suspects. I don't know the motive, but it is really interesting. Social media last month was awash with reports that Museveni, who had allegedly been admitted to Aga Khan Hospital in Kenya, the capital of Nairobi, had passed on. The reports, stated by mostly bloggers outside the country, attracted the attention of many Ugandans, especially those on social media. However, Museveni a day later appeared at the opening of a virtual health summit. According to journalists on Monday, the CID spokesperson warned bloggers against sharing such information that is not verified, nothing that it might lead to their arrest. In our culture, when you announce someone dead, you are not from their and you are not from their family or personal doctor or official spokesperson of the institution where he or she works. Society condemns you as one who is indisciplined. To us, the law enforcement agencies, we take up the matter as a crime. When you share information ignorantly, you may be charged. Now, look at the gentleman Twine telling us about culture. Okay, so should we stick down and start talking about culture? You, the same people who are is it culture to abduct Ugandans and torture them? Is it culture to trump up charges against Ugandans and torture them and put stupid crimes that they never committed? Is that culture? Do not even start that conversation, Mr. What's your name? Charles, whatever. Twine, do not even start that conversations, because you do not have the moral authority to come and lecture Ugandans about the rule of law as well as culture, because your institutions, they are unlawful, number one. Secondly, they have been the perpetrators of immoral culture, left, right, and center, with your head of state being at the helm of those stupid things. And now you're here talking about culture? Really? Charles Twine? All right, so it is not culture to announce the death of Museveni, but it is culture to kill people. Well, thank you very much. Desist from sharing such unfounded information on social media. We are still looking for many other people who shared the information. Together with crime intelligence, we are looking for those people. One Zulumbu and other bloggers. According to Twine, investigations have indicated that some of the people behind the messages announcing prominent persons dead scheme get asylum in countries abroad, but said security will soon bust their plans. Some of these things are done as a scheme, especially those outside the country, to create grounds to get asylum. Now, that is so... this guy is so daft. I mean, I've never seen people who are daft. I mean, you see, this is the reason as when people get jobs as a result of nepotism, when people get jobs as a result of tribalism, this is what happens. That you find people who are arguing things that they don't even understand. Now, where does it help someone to say that, okay, look here, Museveni is dead, so please give me asylum? So if the people who are using Museveni's death as asylum, it cannot be people in the opposition. Because in the opposition, if you announce Museveni's death and you have been seeking asylum, they will just tell you, hey, go back home since Museveni is dead. We cannot grant you asylum. The dictator, the murderer, has left. Now, the only people who are able to receive asylum when Museveni is dead are people within the government. Maybe this is what Twine said, that these people are for the government. So what he's saying, that by announcing Museveni's death, when these people have been publicly supporting Museveni and helping him out, so they are trying to get asylum. So NRM people are the ones that announced Museveni's death, and maybe it jumped over to the opposition, and opposition people also announced Museveni's death. So these NRM people in the diaspora, we are looking for asylum. So when they announced the death, they say we cannot go back to Uganda because we shall be arrested, because the person who has been protecting us, Museveni, has died. People like Fred take these things casual to spread fake news of the death of other persons, but different jurisdictions have been notified by police and diplomatic protocols that they should not get granted that they should not be granted asylum on ground that they are facing political prosecution. If they are to do so, they should base on other reasons, Twine said. Well, good luck, Mr. Twine. I don't even know if at all you know how any law works, apart from your small office that you sit in there in Chiburi, because you don't know how any law works. You're not trained in law. You are unlawful. You do not respect the rule of law, because if you respected the rule of law, you shouldn't even have mentioned such things. Because you don't need to tell the world what Museveni did last year, whether he's a criminal or not. You don't need to tell the world what your security forces, the ones that you're a spokesperson for, what they have done. You're murdering people, torturing people. Turkey just needs to Google. You just Google Charles Twine, just Google Museveni, just Google murders in Uganda. More murders will come up. If you put Amin here and put Museveni here, there are more murders that will come up under Museveni than Amin, than Obote. That they have notified. No government would like to liaise with you because they know you are liars. There are plans to go through police protocols like regional and international treaties to arrest them. Well, good luck. You can't even get a visa. You guys are banned. Your entire institution is banned. The police spokesperson is banned. The IGP is banned. The chief of defense forces is banned. Museveni is banned. His first family is banned. You guys are on a travel ban, but now you want to reach out to governments out there to arrest these people. The irony of that is really, really, really funny even. Because you have no credibility. If your institution, look here, the fact that Ugandans are not even coming out to condemn this, it shows how unpopular Museveni is. The fact that people wish death for you, that means that you have become the lowest of the low in society. Because people believe that with you going away, maybe things will be reset in the country. Why don't you just do the right things? Why don't you just address the problems that are affecting people? Why don't you just stop kidnapping, arresting, and killing people? The law, Computer Misuse Act. Museveni last week directed security agencies to go after social media users who spread the news of his death recently. So, now this shows one thing. Museveni has already given in that the power is with social media. Whoever controls social media controls the narrative. So, all of a sudden, Museveni has tried to control media in Uganda, controlling the news, controlling everyone has been controlled in Uganda. But social media, Museveni failed. He couldn't control it. And now he has accepted that, look here, social media, every time when he's speaking, social media. He was not talking about bloggers, blah, 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 but now all of a sudden they are recognizing the power of bloggers. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever you're doing, if you're coming out to speak, if you're writing, if you're tweeting, if you're doing YouTube like me or any other thing that you are writing or doing, it has an impact. It means that these people listen and they read these things. It means these people, they listen but they don't act. Okay? They listen and they know. So the more pressure, that is why you see when something is written about, they might not react about it. But when something is spoken about on social media platforms or written about on Twitter and all this kind of stuff, well, they pay a lot of attention. So let us use these tools in our midst. Now, I'm not a person who is in for fake news. No, I do not condone the spread of information that is unsubstantiated, information that is, not true. Okay? But if at all this is what is driving Museveni crazy, that announcing him dead is something that he's worried about, then why can't more people, because that is funny. Like, all of a sudden he was saying, oh, social media, I will block it. Oh, Facebook, I will block it. And now he's like, oh, social media, why are you announcing my death? Oh, so you wanted the radio to announce your death or the TVs? Oh, okay, where are the NRM bloggers? Where are the NRM people who, can counter this information? Where are they? Nowhere to be seen. Now, security services need to also solve that problem. I need to check with them so that we can locate quickly those and waste people's time. Okay. Now, of course, he instituted a new tax and things of that sort. Now, the other issue that, for me, just my takeaway points on this particular issue as I'm winding up. When I was speaking to one of my confidence and spoken about this issue, trying to digest it. I asked this person that how come that Museveni is very, very tough on the issue of announcing his death? Why is he so tough on this issue right now? Because there are so many other issues that he should be tough about. So he told me two things. Number one, what happened in Haiti, whereby the president was murdered and all this kind of stuff, it sent shockwaves to presidents all over the country, all over the world, that by spreading such news that Museveni is dead, he's worried that maybe the army within the barracks, like for those of you who have been following my episodes and trying to cover what is happening in the army. So the gentleman told me that the army might, when they hear Museveni is dead, something might happen within the army, and maybe they might try to take over the state, to launch a coup d'etat on the basis of that particular news. And then Museveni might be worried for that reason, being caught off guard. You get it? If you know what I mean. Now, the other issue he told me, that there is some truth in it. But what they don't understand is how that information could have gotten out. Now, there is some truth in it. I don't mean that Museveni was dead, but there is some truth in it to the fact that he must have had either a heart attack, or he must have had some sort of a pressure, or he must have had some sort of something must have happened that is really big, and that they were maybe contemplating of flying him out of the country or something of that sort. Or maybe he was even flown out of the country and taken to Kenya or something of that sort. Or maybe he had a mini heart attack, or maybe he had a health scare that happened to him. And then that information got out, but it got out in a bad way. Even people who spread the information. You people who are within State House that are giving people outside information, give them, do not exaggerate. Do not make the information very juicy to tell people that, oh, Museveni is now out, he's sick, he's this. You give them the factual information that, look, this is what is happening. The guy had a mini heart attack. So the gentleman said that it is likely that Museveni was either sick, really, really badly sick, or he might have injured himself or something of that sort. And when these rumors of his death came about, he must have been very scared on who actually put that information out there. And that is why he's very, very tough, that he has people leaking information to the public, meaning that he has moles within his ranks. And that is really something very scary, especially when it comes to even, because the announcing of Museveni's death as well, it has also an impact on the regional issues. If you look at Kagame, if he gets to know that Museveni is dead, I don't know how he could react. If you look at Ruto and Kenya, if he gets to know that Museveni is dead, I don't know how he would react. I will leave that to your imagination. You have Salva Kiir somewhere there. So all those kind of things. So that's really quite interesting. So you can think about it and see. But good luck to Mr. Charles Twine, looking for bloggers who announced Museveni's death. But we all know that all these are just diversions that Museveni is creating to take the immense pressure that has been piling on top of him in order to resign, because he has failed Ugandans in every aspect of life. Have a blessed one.